Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I do apologise for the real late start to the broadcast this morning, but everything's been going on. Last night, I personally didn't finish in Magdalena's till well after 4 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, trying to squeeze stuff in before, obviously, what happens today with the music lockdown and also the curfew that's going to start tonight. But I'll come into that in a little bit more detail. But first, again, can I just say thank you to all those people yesterday that came and saw me in the DJ booth. Can I say a big thank you to Brian Darlington for the card and the chocolate. There was another gentleman who brought me some money for the cats as well, some stray cats as well. Can I just say thank you for the support from people, and especially Brian, for what you wrote in your card. It really, really touched me greatly with everything that's been going on. The reason for the late start this morning, obviously, as I said, didn't get out of Magdalena's till well after 4 o'clock this morning. I recorded this weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend's dance anthem show, literally straight after karaoke. Can I say last night, Magdalena's was absolutely packed last night. It was like old times, and it's just crazy now that we're going into this lockdown. But I'll come on to that in just a short while. I just want to quickly rush through some of the stats. Not only are we into the lockdown that we're going to have for the next 7 days, but also with the temperatures at the moment here, we're also being put into a stage 4 fire risk at the moment. As you're probably aware from mainstream news media, there have been fires all over Greece at the moment. So if it's not COVID, it's fires. The country is basically shackling down for the next few days with these high temperatures. There's already fires taking place in the Peloponnese and around Athens, the Attica area. I'll come on to those in a bit more detail. But just please be reminded that here we also have this stage 5 fire protection order in place. That means there is a curfew of sorts between 6 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. You are not allowed, obviously, to go into foresty areas off the beaten trail, either on foot or in a vehicle, in case you may inadvertently cause a fire. So the rule of thumb at the moment is stay on the main hard metal roads. Don't decide to go off exploring into wooded areas because one, they become out of bounds from 6 o'clock in the evening until 6 o'clock in the morning. And if you're found in there, you could obviously find yourself arrested. Also as well, be aware, again, with your personal discipline, with cigarettes, with barbecues and all of that sort of stuff. Also be aware as well that farmers and people who work on the land, they're also under very strict instructions at the moment. They're not allowed to do certain jobs with chainsaws, soldering irons, beekeeping, smoke and all of that, in case they inadvertently cause a fire. So once again, please be very, very careful. And thank you to Amanda for your concise weather forecast. She says, morning Ginge, sunshine today, very hot, extreme high temperatures. There's a heat wave, we on the way. Yeah, we know the heat wave on the way. She says temperatures 32 will feel like 33. I've got to be honest, on my bike last night going to work, my bike said 42. When I was coming home this morning, or the early hours of the morning, it was, get this, 29 degrees when I came back. And as I got close to the house, I think the temperature just dropped down to about 25. So again, it is very, very hot here at the moment. Right, let's look at the COVID stats. Oh yeah, I'm just going to quickly whistle through the arrivals today. We've got a flight in from Newcastle. We've got a flight in from Manchester. We've got another flight in from East Midlands, a flight from Birmingham. We got a flight from TUI, London Gatwick at 2:15 this afternoon. Anywhere else from the UK coming? Yes, we have a Doncaster Sheffield flight. That's coming in tonight at 19:55. So again, we still have a lot of flights coming in from the UK, which is good for us, and also normally would make a lot of the bars feel very happy and jolly that the Brits are on the way with their spending power. But anyway, let's have a look at the COVID in the last 24 hours. Right now, infections have decreased slightly across Greece in the last 24 hours. I did tell you that it was 2,856. Well, that's now 2,800 new cases across the country. We have now had 506,672 cases since the pandemic started last year. So we obviously broke the 500,000 barrier a couple of days ago. Anyway, it seems there were 14 new cases identified on checks into the country. That was up on the 9 on previous. Now, just been looking at the stats for the islands that are obviously of interest that people wanted to know about. Mykonos's infection rate in the last 24 hours has been 13. Rhodes, where Steve Kimberley at the moment, I think is still staying there at the moment. They had 98 yesterday and they've had 98 today. So that's kind of an interesting stat number there for Rhodes at the moment. When it comes to Lefkada, they've had 10 cases. Corfu, they've also had 44 cases as well. Now, the thing with Corfu, as far as I'm aware, they are still in the amber. They haven't had their epidemiology status changed at the moment. So, and their stats have been in generally a lot higher than ours. Anyway, Kefalonia, they've had 4 new cases in the last 24 hours. And Zakynthos, well, we have 14 new cases here on the island in the last 24 hours. When it comes to deaths at the moment, there's been 12 deaths across the country. That's that's down actually on the day before where we had 16. Total death toll now since the pandemic started is 13,026. When it comes to ICUs at the moment, interestingly, there's 192 critical cases in hospitals across the country. That is up on the 172 on the previous day. We've also had some stats coming out of the hospital here as well. At the moment, we have 10 patients who are in what is classed the COVID clinic. However, their cases are not really of much concern at the moment, according to the authorities. They say that they're going to be under observation for the next 20 days, but none of those 10 cases at the moment feel that they will probably need ICU treatment at some point. So again, at the moment, we've got 10 people in the COVID clinic, but we haven't got anybody occupying any of the special COVID beds that the island has to treat very critically ill people. So today's news then, Zakynthos is in the red. Obviously, I did that quick broadcast yesterday. The reason for that is obviously because our epidemiology had obviously risen, and the authorities then decided that, we're going to lock you down. Not that I agree with the way that they're going to lock us down anyway. So from today then at 6 o'clock this morning, a traffic ban will go in place from 1 o'clock tonight, and that will run through till 6 a.m. in the morning. So basically what they've done now, unlike last year when they had the lockdown, where with the lockdown was bars had to shut, restaurants had to shut at midnight, but people weren't under any obligation to return to their accommodation. There was not a proper curfew in situ. So now this is obviously the next measure, that there is a proper curfew in situ, and once the bars start to shut and close, people will be expected to be back in their accommodation by 1 o'clock in the morning. And anybody who's caught out on the streets And the only exceptions to the rules that have been given is basically for health reasons, i.e. you're having to rush to the hospital because somebody in your family has suddenly become ill and they need medical treatment, or because a person has a job and they have to get to work. Now, last year they did issue special paperwork for people to present to the police at checkpoints to enable them to go on their way, so they would obviously be able to get to work without any bother or issue. However, nobody has said anything about any special paperwork for workers who still have to obviously go and get to their jobs during the hours of curfew. So the curfew hours, just to re-emphasize that, 1 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the morning. The bars and that will be all shut, closed, and it'll be interesting to see how the police actually then start to enforce this over the next 6 days. And once again, there's going to be another look at the situation in 6 days' time, and then maybe the ban will be lifted. I can obviously then go back to work. We can start running the business normally. A lot of questions are being asked in the way of workers now are being forced not to work, so therefore it's not their fault that they've been stopped from working, as to whether there'll be some kind of sort of a furlough, not a furlough scheme in the true sense of the word, but some kind of recognition of this, so that when it goes towards your ICA and your unemployment benefit, etc., that will be taken into consideration. So again, very, very interesting times at the moment in that. And what was more interesting as well was that local businessmen immediately announced that they were going to be protesting today at 11 o'clock. They were going to go down into the town, see the Zakynthos MP, and basically discuss with him about this lockdown. Also, as well, going to see the regional director for the Ionian region, who's here in Zakynthos at the regional office here, and obviously protest as well about what's happening with the lockdown as well. It'll be interesting to see what the fallout is from that. If anything will actually happen with that, we shall wait and see. Just going to quickly go back to the fires again. I see Ben Warner is tuning in. He says, big up, Ginge. Sorry to hear the bad news. Good job we got beats to keep us going. Thank you very much, mate. Just to quickly go over the fires at the moment, because they are making big stories over in the UK at the moment. One major forest fire which is burning at the moment is the fire around the area of the Olympics home in Olympia over on the Peloponnese. Jane and I have been there. Fantastic place to go and visit. Well, at the moment, it seems the firefighters have been fighting an all-night fire to try and prevent the fire from getting in on the historical site, which was where the obviously the Olympic Games started. And every 4 years, the Olympic torch is always lit there from the rays of the sun. And then obviously the torch then goes on its journey across the world to herald the arrival of the next Olympic Games. So at the moment, Michaelis Christoladis, he's the Citizens Protection Minister. He said the site is now being protected. He said we will continue to battle all day in order to contain the fire on all fronts. He said it's extremely difficult at the moment, describing the heroic events of or efforts of the firefighters. He also reminded people, and I actually remembered this morning as well, that in 2007 there were dozens of wildfires exactly like what's going on at the moment here in Zakynthos, and these fires resulted in the deaths of people, also in the destruction of, again, lots of archaeological sites, and basically the historic site of Olympicados, that also got singed, shall we say, quite severely back in that time as well. Also, as well, the heat wave, the Greek authorities have described as Greece's worst since 1987. and has, their words, not mine, has baked the country for more than a week and is forecast to last until at least Sunday. It has sent temperatures spiraling to 45 degrees Celsius, that's 113 Fahrenheit, and obviously has created tinder dry shrublands and forests. So once again, we are in Cat 4 at the moment for danger of fire. So once again, people, please be very careful. Greece actually, according to more information, has had 100 wildfires break out just in the last 24 hours. I must be honest, when I was coming back at 4 in the morning, I was watching the fire trucks driving up the Gitani Road, either going to or from a picket post location, because that's one of the deployment tactics that they have here. They go to locations where they know there is danger of fire, and they basically park their vehicles and just basically wait for something to happen. So the firemen here are out and about doing their jobs all over the island, and these extremely hot conditions at the moment is obviously adding to the extra frustration and fatigue. And don't forget, we do have characters here who like to watch the flames dance, and again they will be seriously being looked at to make sure that there's no shall we say added danger from arson attempts also during this period as well. To the north of the capital, the forest fire has encroached in the northern suburbs of Attica. Now, they've had some homes actually burned there. That's forced thousands of people to actually flee. The fire, which started on Tuesday, was no longer threatening inhabited areas, but was still decimating forest areas at the foot of Mount Perima. There were 40 firefighters from Cyprus that also came over to join in the front and also fight the blaze. So again, Greece has had to take extra firefighters from other locations, obviously, to be able to contain the fire at the moment. Right, I'm going to leave it there for the time being. My phone at the moment, I think, has completely died. So if people are trying to phone me on my number, I'm very difficult to get a hold of at the moment. I think I'm going to have to go this morning and get that sorted. Can I once again thank all those people that have been dropping me messages of support and everything else. Thank you very much. I'm looking at some of the people already online. Ronnie Mitchell, John Bailey, Susan Moore, Steve McCann, Karen Smith. Also Shane Bowen up there in Exmoor, Dave Matthews in Oxford as well. Thank you for your messages. Some of your messages, I can't read your comments because it just keeps flicking back to the beginning. But once again, thank you. It's going to be interesting, obviously, now for the next 6 nights. I'm at home. OK, so therefore the news podcasts will not be as a bit sporadic as what they have been. However, we're not happy. Trust me, nobody is happy with what's going on. It's going to be very interesting to see in the next few days how things will move forward. And as I said yesterday in my emergency podcast, we were all worried about the Brits putting us into amber. But lo and behold, the Greeks have put themselves into the red. And obviously that luckily hasn't influenced at the moment any policies within the UK market. So people are still wanting to come. Please, it doesn't look as grim on the outside, all right? Sorry, on the inside as it might do from the outside. We're still a great place to come for a holiday. Despite the curfew going in place, I think the hotels at the moment are going to be doing a bit more money in their bars. I don't know what the all-inclusives are going to be doing, but anyway, they'll start charging. Trust me, 11 o'clock, mate, that's it. The money's on. But even then, the hotel bars are probably going to be the same. They're going to be allowed to be open till a certain time, and then it's back to your room and sit on your balcony with a few beers and just put the aircon on and chill out. And again, wait till the following morning, good night's sleep, and then obviously back down the beach again to go off and enjoy yourself. And if you don't get a tan and you leave here, there's something wrong with you, all right, because it is so hot. Right, that's it from me for today. Thank you once again. I'll keep my ear to the ground and we'll see how things transpire. Oh, and if anybody sees Lady Jane today, she's on the trip up at the shipwreck just tell her my phone's not working. All right. I'm having to go into town. I've probably got to buy a new one as well, which is going to pain me greatly. But anyway, I will catch you later. Oh, yeah, Steve, if you're watching this, give Jane a call. Let her know that my phone is completely knackered and I'm in town trying to sort it. Thank you. I'll speak to you again soon. Ta-ra.